Girls of Reddit, what are some of the most obvious signs or hints you've given to a guy you liked that he was totally or seemingly oblivious to? I'm talking about hints or signs that you have done in order to show him that you like him or would like to take your relationship a step further. Whatever that may mean. Edit. Wow. This thread became f***ing hilarious. Thanks for all the comments, and also thanks to everyone for the birthday wishes. Made my day. My ex once had a cute bubbly female friend of his come over. She was younger than him and thought he was amazing. When they were hanging out in the bathroom at his place, don't know why, she decided then and there to take off her clothes and have a shower right in front of him. He just continued playing his guitar and tried not to look at her. She didn't visit him anymore after that. Must learn enough guitar so I can pick up chicks. Man, it's so lonely in this shower. What was that? I was too busy playing my guitar. I feel this story may be a winner. I have a mate who is horribly useless with women. Can't talk to them. Can't get their hints, and most importantly, can't decipher their hidden messages. Having had a girlfriend for a few years, I was not too bad at figuring out these messages. But I have no idea how my mate missed this particular one. He had been keen on this one girl who had been flirting with him for weeks. And as we all lived on res at uni, they were always bumping into one another. Anyway, after a function we all get home very drunk, and he receives a text from her complaining that she is incredibly horny and upset because the batteries in her vibrator have run out, and wanted to know if he could help her. So being the genius that he is, he takes two AA batteries out of his Xbox controller, walks to her dorm, slips them under the door and yells out, "You're welcome." It was only in the morning, when I informed him that she was desperate for some loving, that he realized the mistake he had made. Still give him speep for it to this day. Dude, at least has a bro. He sacrificed his controller batteries for her. Sparky, Valty, it's time to say goodbye. We've been through a lot together. Neutralized terrorists, wound noobs, and taken down gods. But tonight may be your most challenging adventure yet. Alas, where you go now? I cannot follow. Godspeed. We were in high school in computer class. She asked me to come over and help her, so I sat down next to her and started showing her computer stuff. Then she grabs me by the wrist, presses my forearm into her boobs, and says biceps, and all I could think was, that's my forearm. When I was younger and really interested in a guy, I would invite him to a movie/video game shopping/walk etc, and at some point during the event I would ask to compare hands, and then just kind of not let go once we were done. A couple of guys got it right away, and it was awesome to see them blush and kind of light up a bit. One guy simply told me my hand was too warm and let go. Every other girl in this thread, listen to this one. It might actually work. In high school I invited my first boyfriend over at 1 AM, while my parents were out of town, to watch Balto. We watched the whole damn thing. He gave me a hug and biked home. To be fair, it's a pretty bitchin' movie. I'd give you a hug too if you made me watch Balto at 1 AM when your parents were out of town. Haha. Should probably clarify we were watching it in my room on my bed. I only had so many movies to choose from. I was lucky enough to have a VCR in my room. I think I figured Balto was boring enough to want to do something else. I was wrong. Gah, I'm kicking myself for that poor bastard. Anything happen after that night? Edit. Maybe he thought you were a prostitute? Nothing really ever came from it. He was awkward. I was shy. It was really doomed from the beginning. I literally asked the guy out. And he didn't get it. You could practically see the invitation soar over his head. It wasn't like he was politely rejecting me. He didn't get it. This happened to me. I saw a girl in a drugstore and thought she was gorgeous. A female friend convinced me to walk up to her and just flat out say that I thought she was beautiful. So I did. I even prefaced it with the whole, I wouldn't ever normally do this, but I saw you and my friend over there convince me just to come tell you how gorgeous I think you are. I completely expected a polite, Thank you. And then for a girl who felt flattered to walk away smiling. Instead, she asked me my name. I told her, and she told me hers. I was unprepared for any of this, and extremely nervous. So then she asks me, so, do you have any plans this weekend? Me, nope, not really. What about you? Her, no, nothing at all, colon. Me, UHH. Okay, well, it was really nice to meet you. I just wanted to tell you that I have to get back to work now. It only took about 2 hours for me to realize what I had done. I literally smacked myself in anger. I think you might win most oblivious on that one. That just made me straight cringe. Saved quote. An addition to the tell us line. An observation to make is that it is very rare for a guy to give a negative reaction to the attentions of a woman. At worst, it will be a not interested, and then at least you know. Often guys aren't as oblivious as many of us make out. They just know that, short of outright saying it, anything else that women might tend to consider as signals can always be misread easily. One woman's just being friendly is another woman's signal of interest, and men usually have to deal with much stronger negative repercussions as the result of misreading these signals. U/Claudia Kenny. Offered to show him my boobs. I got that at Halloween once. Was chatting with a girl, had a massive rack, and I jokingly asked how much of it was the costume. She said come to the bathroom and find out, to which I replied nah, it's okay. I cringed more at this than most other posts in this thread. Thank you. Oblivious guy here. I called a fizzy drink soda pop. She said, that's so cute. If any guy ever asked me out for a soda pop, I would have to say yes. 2 years later I woke up in the middle of the night and realized she meant me. Call her up and ask her right now. I double dog dare him. Backstory in short. Met a really awesome guy who was exactly my type and single. Only problem? Complete and utter friend zone. To the point where I was told we are such great buddies. This guy who had been friend zoning me for months finally invited me to hang out with him. Alone. At his house. With no one there but us and a couch. So, I got dressed up a little more than usual and was promptly there at the designated time. A mutual friend of ours showed up to hang out and ended up on the couch while we shared a blanket on the floor. He kept being annoying by singing along to the musical we were watching. So I got coy and threatened to bite his tongue. After I did, he laughed. So I kissed him. Still nothing. I had to look him in the eyes and tell him I like you a lot and kissed you on purpose. We should go out sometime. For it to click. We have been dating for 6 months. Oh yeah, I know that friend zone. I got friend zoned hardcore by my current boyfriend. It got ridiculous. He was living in my house. We were sleeping in the same bed. I was making him pancakes every morning. We'd cuddle and watch movies. We'd give each other massages with our shirts off. We held hands. I even told him I liked him, and he said he didn't feel that way. This went on for a year. One day, we were cuddling while watching a movie, and we finally kissed. It's been 3 years now, and things are marvelous. This guy took this to a whole nother level. Came into this thread hoping to find out that I'm an oblivious idiot. All that has happened is that I have confirmed that no girl has ever came on to me. Oh my god, my friend fits this sign completely. He was working on his doctorate in some science, I think physics, and he was very busy. I had only seen him once in the past few weeks, and he was always with this girl, who was really cool. They would hang out a lot while he would do research and she would do work for her master's thesis. Would text each other every day, and also they would, once a week, go out to Burger King for college students and have stuff from the dollar menu. It was pretty clear that they dug each other as they seemed to be very similar and were both very interesting. They had met when he was finishing up his doctoral work, and so I asked him what he planned to do. Well, he said that he planned on asking her out. Now this confused me, as I had thought they had been dating for roughly the last 6 months. So I asked him if they've ever hooked up. And he's like, yeah, every time she comes over, and they sleep in the same bed roughly 5 nights out of the week. Do you go out with her? He took her to Burger King. Do you really enjoy talking to her? Yeah, I'm glad we talk all the time and stuff. And I say, dude, this sounds suspiciously close to a relationship. And he goes, oh, that explains this then. She had sent him a text saying happy 6 months baby, D. Even after this, he still wasn't sure. So yes, my friend is retarded. They are still together to this day. TL. Dr. Friend was in a relationship for 6 months without knowing about it. He probably would have ended up at the wedding, wondering why everyone was at church, and why he was in a tux. I think it might have gone along the lines of, oh gee, I'm awfully overdressed for my friend's wedding. I should go home and get changed. And so he leaves the church, leaving the bride at the altar in absolute tears, while the fathers and brothers come to fists in the background of all the sad wedding photographs. This sounds like a plot to a sad sitcom that never gets picked up after its pilot. I'd watch it though, because you made it. When I was in senior year of high school, there was this really cute guy in my programming class. I had a huge crush on him, and I really wanted him to ask me out. Keep in mind, I was raised to believe it was improper for a girl to ask a guy on a date. I'm wiser now. We became friendly, and I moved my seat next to his. Over the next several weeks I would constantly flirt with him, talking about movies I knew he'd like, chatting about video games, touching his hands while we talked, complimenting him, making the occasional sexual innuendo. I was trying so hard to get him to ask me on a date. He actually asked another girl to prom, so I figured he wasn't interested. I laid off the flirting for a while. One day during class we were talking about relationships, and I said, you know, I still can't believe such a cute guy like you is single, while winking at him. He just shrugged and said his last couple of dates never really went anywhere. Throwing caution to the wind, I looked him square in the eyes and said, I know if it were me, I wouldn't say no to a second date. He got the message that time and immediately asked me out, at which point the guy sitting a few seats down yelled finally. As it turns out, I was just as oblivious to his flirting and hints over the last several months as he was to mine, so he thought I wasn't interested in him. Everyone else in the class had picked up on it, but not us. And that's how two very oblivious people got married. I was practically on top of my now fiancé, and he still thought we were just cuddling. The worst thing about reading this thread is a duties that you go in expecting to have a laugh at all these clueless rubes and then realize that you are all of them. So at what point is cuddling no longer cuddling? In high school, my cousin was offered a ride home from a cute girl that he liked. He was confused when she passed his house, but he didn't say anything. She drove for a bit and pulled into an empty, secluded parking lot. Then she looked over at him and said something along the lines of, now that we are stopped here, is there anything you wanna do? He thought for a second and then said, yeah, I don't think my door's shut all the way. So he opened his door and re-shut it. The girl gave him a weird look and just drove him home. He said he literally walked into his room, sat down on his bed, and then let out a big OHHHH. Girl sent me nudes to cheer me up. Proceeded to send her a picture of a cat. Now realizing my mistake,